Hello, this week I would like to talk about why some people don't like to talk about personal development or why personal development is not cool. Personal development should be cool. But what is personal development? Personal development to me is when you're constantly trying to improve areas of your life and you're constantly doing a daily inventory on things that are working and things that are not working for you in your life, either behaviors or emotionally. And truly, everybody should be doing some kind of personal development work. And if they're not, it's probably because they're either too comfortable where they are in their lives, in living the way they are, and doing the behaviors that are probably they're not proud of. So we usually try to then ditch on personal development because we're too comfortable where we are, and if we are obligated to really dig in, we will be forced to be accountable and really be honest, and we rather be in a place where we don't address that character flaws or whatever we're doing because we rather keep doing it. Another reason why personal development is not cool is because sometimes you need to do some introspection, in that sometimes looking in is not pretty, right? Especially if there's some issues. Being honest with ourselves is not pretty sometimes. We have to admit things that we're not proud of, and it requires you to be honest with yourself. And sometimes you just want to keep doing what you're doing, and that's okay. You can't force anyone to want to change their lives. You can't force anyone to change. The time will come when they want to, and maybe it's not their time right now. Maybe they need to go through certain things to have an awakening. Like I talked last week, sometimes you can't force anyone to make changes. They have to see it on their own. They have to see it in their lives within themselves on their own. Also, when we decide that we want to do some personal development, you might be afraid of change. You will have to start taking steps towards whatever you want to change, and change can seem scary sometimes. We're so used to certain behaviors and ways of coping that are probably not healthy, but they have actually helped us survive in some way all these years, so we don't want to give it away. We don't want to stop going to those coping mechanisms that are probably not good for us. But the truth is that even though they have helped us in the past, we can just thank them for helping us survive. But you can make the conscious effort today of saying, yes, thank you. You worked for in the past, but today I'm changing to cope in a more healthy, resilient way. That so you don't go back to old bad behaviors that could be actually sabotaging your life and keeping you stuck where you are. And at the moment, they might feel comfortable. So this change is gonna feel uncomfortable and a little icky and a little scary, but I would recommend maybe doing some EFT to embed new thoughts and new consciousness in your subconscious, so you can be like, it is safe for me to not go back to old behaviors. And you can do some EFT, and you can be like, I'm safe by not choosing to do whatever it is, and it's safe for me to not go back to old behaviors, and I completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm being tempted and having thoughts of going back to old behaviors, of coping that hurt me in the end, I'm consciously choosing not to do that today. And I completely love and accept myself through this process. So that will be an example of EFT you can go to. Another reason why people ditch on personal development is because they like it where they are, And you know that saying, misery loves company. So if you're changing, it might make, if you're making personal choices that are best for you, maybe it will make people around you uncomfortable because they're you're feeding into their denial. So we're all going to be in denial together. But when you're making decisions to that are better for you, you might make others uncomfortable. But be aware of this and keep going. Don't give up. And it is your time and you have made a decision. You can stick for it. Stick to it. It's the best for you. So when you reach a new level of awareness, you'll start to see that the people around you are toxic or are in denial themselves, and they want to remain there. And that's okay as long as you're aware and you don't succumb into being the same. Keep going. You won't feel so comfortable, even if it makes others uncomfortable. It's a good sign. Let's be honest, everyone should be doing some kind of personal development every day because we are never going to be perfect or get there. Life is a process, and we're never going to get to the finish line of being perfect. So it is important that you're always working on something. Also, it is good to share with those that are close to you that you're making the decision to work on certain things, but also be aware that self-righteousness can be also a character flaw. So if you are just doing it for the image to look righteous, self-righteousness can also be a character flaw because it's making you be better or feel better than the rest or being judgmental. So you also have to be cognizant that sometimes you just have to keep it to yourself, and that's alright. You know it, and that's what matters. And always keep an open mind and keep working and keep learning, because the day you think, that saying, the day you think you know everything is the day you don't know anything. So we're human beings, and we have to keep growing our minds and our hearts and dedicate time for that. In case you don't know, I'm the creator of the Emotional Resilience Roadmap membership, and I created that all these 10 years that I was struggling with my diagnosis of bipolar disorder. I realized that the majority of people, even if they don't have a diagnosis, this is not just for mental illness, this is for everyone. Everyone should address in some way their emotional intelligence. And I realized that all areas of our lives are divided in the past, and whatever experiences shaped us in the past, the present, how we're coping today, and how are we going to build resilience in the future to be prepared whatever life throws at us. Anyone who wants to build a strong emotional intelligence should address these areas. And also, if you have some trauma or things that happened in the past that are sabotaging your life in the present, that will be the reason why you would try to find clues in the past. If you go to the past, it's not to relieve the trauma or be ruminating in things that you can't change, but just to find clues on why you think and behave the way you do today. Also, creating a space is important for us. Creating a space in our routine every week. Have some time where we are time to be on our own, just to think or read or do our favorite activity. We have to learn to be by ourselves and do things that nurture our souls and spirit. Also, I realized that something that's not taught a lot is coping skills. So we don't know how to cope when things go wrong or things that happen in social situations or in life in general. Those skills, healthy coping skills to go to. There's a lot of reward in numbing emotions because we don't want to feel them, but our feelings are like the seasons. If you see, even the earth has seasons. so that we're the same inside, it's okay to have seasons inside and feel like you need a couple weeks to just be in your emotional winter and love yourself through the process. Also, it was inspired because I realized that a lot of people, including myself, we don't really notice or think that what we eat could be affecting our emotions. And there's a big link with what we eat because it goes through our blood and then to the brain, and this creates chemical reactions, right? So I found there's a big link with food and moods. And then also in the way we have a belief system, the way we think affects the decisions we make. And that's why I created a model just on mindset. And some habits that we have could be also sabotaging our lives. And also I learned that resilience is like a muscle that you can build. So I was very inspired because in the past I will be the kind of person that will take a lot and then suddenly explode, or a little thing will just make me shatter in little pieces and I will like fall apart and start crying. So I learned that I can actually build resilience, so I'm not in a state of compressing everything inside, or a little thing makes me just shatter into pieces. So that's why I was inspired to create my program, because it addresses all these areas of personal development that I think are important for anyone who wants to have a strong emotional intelligence, which is usually ignored in today's society. Emotions are icky, smushy, and we want to get rid of them, right? But they're actually here as a guidance system. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and remember that it's never too late to change the story of our lives. And if you're watching for the first time, I would like you to get my free guide of my 7 favorite transformational books, and you can click below. Take care!